So,
do we have shear tomorrow afternoon?
yeah, 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock?
Okay.
5 o'clock.
I'll let the oil know.
Yeah.
Yago, what time is Shabbos tomorrow?
For you, Parrot, 7.
Oh, yeah, I got to prep for the Kiddush, the big Kiddush.
It's 6.
Whoever's going to join us, this big Kiddush tomorrow.
Yeah. Big
What time
Kiddush.
we doing?
Chassan Torah, Chassan Bereshus Kiddush.
I have a lot of chicken. It's great. Mostly just like bones and stuff. There's a ton of chicken in here.
Anyway, so yeah, it's 9:35, 9:40 is Parrot's.
Mostly chicken, but then I realized I should keep it separate. So I put it in a bag.
All right.
Whatever you want. You want to put it in just
All right, ready to roll?
Yep.
Okay. So just the chaza quickly from yesterday. So yesterday we almost did a blot and a half. All right. So basically the first Amud was about doing karfif. Somebody's got to mute.
I'm trying. It's quiet. Can't mute myself.
Yeah. Yeah. So what we talking about bitul Reshus from chatzer to chatzer, as opposed to from a house to a house, right? And we're going to continue that a little bit today also. But are you allowed to be mevatel from one chatzer to another chatzer? Right? That's one. And then we discussed karfif, how big it has to be, and can you carry from the karfif to the Reshus or not, which we said you're not allowed to do. And then we had the heating up the water for the bris, which we're going to continue today, right? All the different scenarios of heating up the water, because before the baby had a bris, you had to heat up water and put it on the baby. So yeah, it's about 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 13 lines up from the bottom. Ahu Yanuka. Yeah, we got it. So Yanuka the Shtapa Chamime. There was a Yanuka his hot water spilled out. Amalu Rava Nishayla Leime. Let's ask the mother Itzricha Nacham Le Nachri Agav Ime. And if she needs it, meaning the mother it was within 7 days of having a baby. I mean, she's a chodesh yesh b'sakon. Well, maybe she's a chodesh she'ein b'sakon, or whatever. Yeah, let's assume chodesh she'ein b'sakon for simplicity's sake. So now the guy is allowed to heat up water for her. So we're going to ask the mother, does she need hot water? Right? If she needs hot water, then let the guy heat up the hot water. And
would we do this for her regardless of the bait? Like,
we'll do it for regardless of the baby, and then
even if the baby had hot water and she needed more hot water, we would do it.
Yes. But what we're asking here is maybe she needs hot water to heat it up. Well, she'll heat it up.
Wait, Yaakov, is the baby considered a din of pikuach nefesh for this hot water?
No, that's why. Otherwise we would be able to.
There'd be no shiloh.
We just need the baby to have the hot water for the bris. It's not even a chayla shiloh. It's just some sort of thing to do for the baby, for the bris. So what we're going to do is ask the mother, does she need hot water? If she does, then we're allowed to add. Well, that's going to be the controversy. But if she does, we could heat up hot water for her. And once we're heating up hot water for her, then we could add on water for the baby. Now, getting back to yesterday, what we left off with. Not what we left right before we left off, but that the Machlokes have had to understand the Gemara before, right? We said that the Bahag, right, and the Bach are not goyers the Hamar Lav Amar Lanachri Zil Achim. We never told the guy to heat up the water, right? Which we had said that there's 2 ways to learn that the Gemara. One, the Bahag was the lenient one, and he said that you're allowed to ask a guy to do an Issa Daraisa for you on Shabbos, because asking a guy to do something is not a Maisa, right? So you're allowed to do that. Yeah, so now, according to this, the Gemara says, if she needs hot water, nachem le nachri agav ime, the guy will heat it up for the mother, right? What do you mean nachem le nachri for the mother? Why can't you, according to the Bahag, just let the guy heat it up for the bris? You're allowed to ask a guy to do any time, and it's a deraisa. What do you have to say? Why do you have to ask the mother for? Right? It's a big kasha. So basically, the word nachri, according to the Bahag, you have to take out the word nachri, which Tosis and Gittin seems to take out the word nachri. Like this, according to him, you ask the mother, does she need hot water? And if the mother does, then the yid can heat up the hot water according to the Bahag. Even a yid could heat up the hot water because she's sheyesh b'sakana. And then memela, you could add more water for the bris, which is much more of a chiddush than being geiris nachri. So basically, what we said on the top, see the bach aleph on the top, 3-4 lines down. If you geiris that, the hamar loy amar lenachri zil achim, and you geiris nachem nachri, that those two go hand in hand. But if you're not geiris the line on top, then you have to take out the word nachri in order for this gemara to make sense. Because again, according to the Bahag, you're allowed to ask a guy to do anything. If I'm sitting on my couch and I decide I want a hot tea and I ran out of hot water, according to the Bahag, I can go ask the guy, go heat me up hot water, and that's perfectly fine on Shabbos. So what do you have to ask the mother if she's not feeling well, right? Fine, okay. So anyways, that was the story. So they asked the mother. So what do you mean? The mother is eating dates, right? So if she's healthy enough to eat dates, she's not going to need hot water. So Amalei, Amar Tunva Ba'amahu Danakala. No, that's just a mishagas. That she's like delirious. That's why I understand it. She's delirious, so therefore she's eating dates, even though she really shouldn't be eating dates. I guess eating dates after childbirth is quite an interesting. I guess it's not something that's so healthy. But it's interesting because nowadays the poskim all say, really according to halacha, within 7 days, the mother is considered chayla sheyesh b'sakana. The poskim say nowadays, what do you mean? The woman 3-4 days after having a baby already going shopping, right? That the mitzvah seems to have changed of the way women react to births, right? In the old days, a woman had a baby, she was in the hospital 4 or 5 days, right? Now they're bouncing them out after a day, maximum 2.
Also, you're saying it's a woman the 7th day. This was on the 8th day. So is she still a chodesh sheyesh b'sakana?
This
was on the 8th day, no?
See, that's the question. See, it could be because 7 full days, you get 7 full. A bris is not necessarily full, right? She has the baby right before Shkia, so then their 7 full will go till, that's a Machlokes whether it's 7 full. But yeah, anyways, okay, so he said she's delirious, but really any lady within a week can get hot water. Yeah. Also, even after 7 days, up to 30 days, she's considered like a standard chayla also. So then Amir Allah can be more mekel. Fine. Okay. Then another case. The that the hot water spilled. Amar Rava. So Rava said, "Panulu mani mi bei gavri lebei nashi." So the way it was back then is that the men's bedroom, I guess, or the men's hangout was in the front of the house. Women's hangout was in the back of the house. So what Rava said to do is take my belongings, move it to the back of the house. Ve'ezel ve'esiv hasam. I'm going to go sit over there. Va'avatel lehu ha'chatzer. And I'm going to be mevatel my chatzer to them. And then they can carry. Meaning, basically, Rashi has a diagram here. Basically, they were in a different chatzer than where the baby was. Right? So they wanted to be able to get hot water. The hot water spilled, so they wanted to be able to get the hot water, but there was no eruv. So what Rava said to do is, I'm going to move my stuff to the back like this. Meaning, if he moves the stuff to the back, there's no concern that he's going to end up inadvertently carrying his stuff out to the chutzner, and it's going to be mevatel his bitul, which is going to be tomorrow's daf or the next daf, right? So basically, what he does is he says, I'm moving my stuff to the back like this. I won't ruin the bitul, and then I'm going to be mevatel my chutzner to them. Then they'll be able to carry from my chutzner to their chutzner. They'll be able to take the hot water. So Amarle Anok Rav Ravino the Rava V'Hamar Shmuel ain't bitul Reshus mechatzer l'chatzer. But didn't Shmuel say that we learned yesterday that you're not allowed to be mevatel your one chatzer to another chatzer? You can mevatel a house to a house. You can't be mevatel a yard to a yard. Right. So again, Amarle Ravino the Rava V'Hamar Shmuel ain't bitul Reshus mechatzer l'chatzer. Amarle Anok Rav Yochanan spherally. Amar yesh bitul mechatzer l'chatzer. No, I hold like Rav Yochanan, which we said Rav Yochanan holds, you are allowed to be mevatel a chatzer. So an entire chatzer can be mevatel to another chatzer. V'ilai savar lamar k'Shmuel. So then the Gemara says, if you don't hold like Shmuel, then nesin mar beduchte. Then why do you have to move to your stuff to the back? Right? Stay in your place. Now here's a real shtick. Okay, stay in your house. V'nevatelu l'didhu. You should be mevatel your house to the other people, the other yards. and then v'nahadu inu v'nevatel leilamar, and then let them go and be mevatel it back to you. Why? Dama Rav mevatel v'chayzin mevatel, because Rav said you can be mevatel and then go back and be mevatel. You hear the shtick that they want to do. Basically, let's say my yard and my mother's yard. Let's say, assuming we had multiple places and we forgot to make an eruv. So what the Rav is saying to do is that I need to carry stuff out to the yard, and my mother needs to carry out stuff to the yard. So what Rav is saying to do is first I'll be mevatel my reshus to my mother, right? Then she could take her stuff out to the yard. Then after everything is out to the yard, she'll go and be mevatel everything to me, and then I'll bring everything out, and then everything is gevaldik. Yeah. So he says, Ana baha kishmuel svirale. I hold like Shmuel. The Amar ein mevaten b'chaz mevaten. I hold like Shmuel, who holds you now allowed to do this bitul and go back in middle. Meaning, once you give up your property, you give up your property. You can't take back your property. So the Gemara asks, "Lav chad taima? Is that not one reason? My time of ein mevaten b'chaz mevaten. What's the reason that you can't be mevatel and go back and be mevatel? La mishum tekiven the batul reshus. Since he was mevatel his reshus, istalak lemehacha legemure. He's totally legamri. I'm sorry, I read it wrong. He's totally giving up his property. He's like as if he lives in a different yard. And there's no bitul of reshus from chatzer to chatzer. That's what Shmuel also. Shmuel is shitase. So marnami no levatel. So then you also can't be mevatel. Meaning he's saying that the reason why Shmuel holds you can't be mevatel a chatzer and then take it back is because once you mevatel a chatzer, that means you become a member of a different chatzer. And once you become a member of a chatzer, one chatzer is not allowed to be mevatel another chatzer. So therefore, it's all one big Torah. So Gemara answers, so meaning if you can't hold like Shmuel by one and not hold him by another. So Gemara answers, no, no, you don't want to make it like the Rabbanon is a joke. Right?
I'm not having the Havamina. How is it possible for it to be a chatzeros and be mevatel originally? If it's Mahavalek chatzeros, you can never be mevatel that person. Why when he actually is mevatel, does it become Mahavalek chatzeros?
Because he's being mevatel his property to everybody else, and then everybody else's property. He becomes part of everybody else's property.
Right, but it doesn't make it chatzeros. Chatzeros is a completely different domain.
Yeah, but
how is he able to be mevatel originally?
He's making himself part of that chatzeros.
You could have multiple people own one chatzer. Why are we looking at his chatzeros? Why not just say he's part of that chatzer, but he loses his rights to? He's part of that. He lives in the chatzer, but he doesn't have rights to the chatzer. Why do you have to go so far to say that it's havalei chatzeros?
Because that's the way you have to look at it. Otherwise, how?
Originally we didn't look at it that way. How else was he mevatel to the other people?
But you have to look at it like that because otherwise it's not a new chatzer.
Right, but it's a catch-22. Originally, you have to look at it like it's. So how is he able to
exactly
mevatel?
What it's saying. It's exactly what it's saying. Okay, but it's getting late, so I gotta go. But maybe you hear Shabbos? Come on by. Yeah.
I'm not. Unfortunately, I found out after. Yeah, whatever.
Okay, you're missing the Gala Kiddush.
No, yes. I heard about it late.
All right. Yeah. So Hasam Hainu Taima, no, there is a reason because it's going to look like the Rabbanon are a joke. If one guy comes and is mevatel something to mevatel his reshus, shmordechai. If one guy's mevatel his reshus to one, and then somebody else comes to be mevatel his reshus back, then the whole thing looks like a joke. So therefore, he says you can't do that. Okay, so Gufa, Rav Amar mevaten v'chayzer mevatlin. Rav says you're allowed to be mevatel your reshus, and then somebody goes back and is mevatel it. And Shmuel says you're not allowed to be mevatel and go back and be mevatel, like we just said. Let's say they're having the same machlokes of the Rabbanan Rebbe Lazar. The Rav Damar Rabbanan. Rav holds like the Rabbanan. The Shmuel Damar Rebbe Eliezer, and Shmuel holds like Rebbe Eliezer. Now I don't know if the Olam remembers what this was, but we said we had a machlokes Rabbanan Rebbe Eliezer, and when somebody's mevatel his yard, is he also being mevatel his house or just his yard? Right. So Rebbe Eliezer said that you are allowed to be mevatel. You're allowed to be mevatel yard and the house, but that's shita of Rebbe Eliezer. And the Chacham say no, you can't. Nobody, just because a guy is being mevatel his yard doesn't mean he's going to be mevatel his house. So the stuff in the yard, he lets you carry out from the yard, but he's not going to let you carry out stuff in the house. So
Didn't we say you need a
it's the same
second
thing?
door or something?
That's a
Or
different.
mixing
That's a
things
different machlokes. It's good, but that's a different machlokes, right? So Malach Rab, no, I'm not the army of people Rabbi Lezer. I can even go according to Rabbi Lezer. Ad kan like Rabbi Lezer. Hasam mevatel Reshus chatzeros Reshus beisay bitul. When does Rabbi Lezer say that when you mevatel your chatzer, you mevatel your house too? Mishum debayis beloy chatzer loy dairi inchi. Because a house, nobody lives in a house without a yard. I don't know. They never saw Brooklyn, but that's clearly back then. Nobody lived in a house without a yard. Avalini is tzeduki, me Amar, but stam to be able to give over his property. Wouldn't you say that? Shmuel Amar, I know the Amri Afilu Rabbanon. Shmuel says I can even go according to Rabbanon. I'd kind of like Rabbanon Hasam Elamai the bottle to loy bottle. What you mevatel. What you're not mevatel, you're not mevatel. Avamai the bottle mia stalak legami. But what you are mevatel, then you're totally relinquishing that, right? So therefore, it's as if you don't. It's as if you don't have it. Okay, so Amar Rav Acha Bar Chana, Amar Rav Sheshes Ketanoi. This whole thing is a Machlokes Tanoi. Mishanas and Reshus. Somebody gives his Reshus. This is actually pretty important to the next plot, so hopefully the Elam will get it. If Mishanas and Reshus, v'haitzi bein b'shagig bein b'meiz. If somebody gives over his Reshus, and then by mistake, meaning when I give over my Reshus, if I forgot to be part of the eruv, so what's the din? I give over my property, and then it's as if everybody's in their property and everything is, and then everything is good. But I can't carry anything out of my property because I'm not part of the eruv. I was mevatel my Reshus. But what happens if I did it? What happens if I did do it? So mishanasha Reshusai, v'haitzi bein b'shagig bein b'mezid, and he brings it out whether he's a shagig, whether he's a mezid, oiser. He makes it oser, divrei Rameir. If he brings it out on purpose, so clearly he shows that his bitul was nothing. If he brings it out by mistake, then it's not oser. My lab, isn't this the Machlokes? The marsav mevatel and b'chayz and mevatel. Maybe this. They're all connected. One holds you can be mevatel and go back and be mevatel. Marsav ain't mevatel and b'chayz and mevatel. You're not allowed to go back and and you're not about to be mevatel and then go back and be mevatel. So Amar Rav Acha Klivash made the Rava loy the kuli alma ain't mevatel and b'chayz and mevatel. Everybody holds you're not allowed to be mevatel and go back and be mevatel. The classic din of do we give a knas of a shagi because of a mezid? One says that you give a knas of a shagi because of a mezid. There's no knas. Rav Ashi Omar Rav Shmuel the plug to the Rebbe Lazar Rabbanon committing. Rav Ashi says Rav and Shmuel are going in the Machlokes of Rebbe Lazar and the Rabbanon. Yeah, okay, I guess we'll stop here. It's a little fast, but it's a little. Yeah, I guess we'll stop here. But I just want to say something just texted me that he's in a hotel for Shabbos. Let's see if the Olam can answer because it was this week's stuff. He's in a hotel for Shabbos. Can he carry from his room to the public areas? Anybody want to try and venture an answer to this question? Or do you want to think of it?
How many Jews are in the hotel?
Well, very good. That's the first question.
My kids, they're having Shabbat Katan in the Worldy Hotel. And my daughter just called me. There's 5 different simchas in the hotel Shabbos. She said, Abi, there's hundreds of people are walking around the hotel.
Are you serious? Okay, so there you go. But that's a Yiddish hotel, though.
Yeah, it's Yiddish hotel.
Okay, so I don't know what hotel this guy is in. I hope he's not. I hope to make the answer easy. Like, I think it was Jesse that said it.
Right.
If he's the only Yid in the hotel, there's no problem. If he is, then he would have to go get it from he would have to go rent l'chayra. Unless whatever. I'll have to handle with it now. I think we should start earlier Matzah Shabbos. No, I don't see any reason not to start by 8. No,
that's fine.
8 sounds good.
Even Ikavik. What is Ikavik?
Ikavik's not making it anyway, so it's not.
He's not making it enough.
So what's the Shabbos over around 7:20? Okay, 8 o'clock. Yeah, 8 o'clock.
Very good.
Okay, let's do it.
Fine.
I'll post it on.
Thank you. Good Shabbos.
Good Shabbos. Yeah. Yeah. What do you want to say, Akiva?
I don't know if it's a mazel tov. Who am I wishing a mazel tov to for this?
No, it's Chassan Torah, Chassan Bereshus. That's all.
Stam or for a specific person that bought it?
Peretz.
Oh, Peretz.
They were going to give me Chassan Torah, and they said, we're going to get a much better Kiddush if Peretz makes it. He got the
Shabbos in general, by outside your minyan, do people just show up, or are you mockery?
What?
Are you where do you have your minyan nowadays? Stam.
In the backyard. My mother's
in the backyard. All right.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay. So maybe
all right. Okay.
Shabbos.
Shabbos, everybody.
Shabbos.
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 Shabbos.